Shatner Quake by Jeff Burke. How do I stay so healthy and boyishly handsome? It's simple. I drink the blood of young runaways. William Shatner. Chapter 1. Sniveling little psychopathic shits, thought William Shatner, looking from the limo's back seat. The limo pulled past the front entrance of the hotel and headed for the back. Thank God I don't have to deal with them. Yet. A crowd of several hundred people milled about the colossal arched doorway. Some were dressed in Starfleet uniforms, some dressed as police officers, some in lawyerish outfits. Most were simply dressed in jeans and T-shirts. Many of the shirts had Shatner's face plastered on the front. Shatner looked at the people, and he stared back from dozens of different chests. They were mostly young men, but a few women peppered the crowd. At least I might get some tail out of this. Shatner arched his neck to get a better look at the hotel. The Cathode La was the largest, most advanced convention center in the world, featuring 4 full-size theaters, a cafeteria and 6 restaurants, 23 bars, more large empty rooms than one could even count, and enough lodging to hold a medium-sized army. The building was a squat white cube the size of 100 city blocks. A mostly ugly piece of architecture except for the front entrance. A large glass pane at least 100 feet wide sat in the concrete. It almost reached the roof, but the top of the glass rounded off to a point before it got there. Its shape felt more appropriate at a church behind the altar than on a multi-billion-dollar corporate structure. At the glass's base were dozens of revolving doors leading into the Cathode La's main lobby. The doors were flanked by 2 massive white columns that stood as high as the building. In between them hung a large white banner. "Welcome to ShatnerCon" was printed on it in black scripted letters. As the limo pulled around the corner of the building, a lone man sitting on the ground caught Shatner's eye. He wore a T-shirt with Bruce Campbell and the Army of Darkness movie poster, Pose, on the front. He held a cardboard sign with a crude, handwritten message. "All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. Don't follow the false messiah." The man raised his right arm and waved the stump wrapped in white fabric at the passing limo. Shatner felt a shiver go down his spine, even though he was sure the limo's tinted windows prevented the man from seeing inside. Fucking Campbellians. They're even here. William Shatner had no personal problem with Bruce Campbell. He understood that Bruce was just another actor trying to squeak out a living in the dog-eat-dog world of entertainment. Shatner just wished that he would stop encouraging his followers to destroy all those who competed for the straight-to-video dollars. The constant death threats and assassination attempts were getting annoying. The limo went down the side of the building. Things were much less active over here. The parking lot stretched away from the building as far as one could see, and every space was filled. Throughout the maze of vehicles, scattered people were heading in the direction of the front entrance. After a few minutes, the limo rounded another corner of the building and pulled to a smooth stop. "Here we go. Put on that pretty public face." Shatner got out of the limo and found himself staring at a nondescript maintenance door with a woman in her late 30s next to it. She was dressed in a black skirt, a black suit jacket with black shirt underneath, and black pumps. She was holding a clipboard with one hand and a half-smoked cigarette with the other. "Mr. Shatner," she said, nodding. She brought the cigarette to her mouth and breathed in deep. The rest of the cigarette was immediately reduced to long gray ash. She breathed out a cloud. "That's me," Shatner said, smiling broadly, trying not to cough. The woman tossed the butt away and extended her hand. "I'm Natalie Albright. We've spoken on the phone." "You're 8 minutes late," she said as they shook hands. "Follow me, please." She turned around and opened the maintenance door. Shatner sneaked a look at her ass as he followed her in. They were in a white hallway with lush purple carpet floor. Natalie walked quickly down the hall, and Shatner hurried to keep up. "Over the next 4 days, we have you scheduled for 15 events. I recommend that you start preparing your acceptance speech for the Achievements and Exceptional Shatnerisms Award banquet now. You'll be expected to speak for at least 3 hours. The two rounded a corner and were going down another identical hallway. "How are you doing? Things going smoothly so far?" asked Shatner. "Come on, turn on that Shatner charm." "Everything's functioning smoothly outside of your late arrival." Natalie checked her watch. "So are we headed to my room?" asked Shatner. It was obvious he wasn't going to get anywhere with her. She was all business. "Oh, no." They turned another corner and were standing in front of a door. "Your first signing was supposed to start 4 minutes ago." Natalie pushed open the door. On the other side was a plain steel table. Sitting on each side of the table were 3-foot-high stacks of Polaroid press shots. In the center of the table was a single silver magic marker. 2 men, dressed in riot gear, stood on the other side of the table. They were facing a huge line of people that extended all the way across a several hundred-foot-long room and out the door to the other side. Shatner stepped out into the room and exploded into cheers as the crowd saw their hero. Give 'em what they want. Shatner flashed a huge grin and waved his arms at the delirious acolytes. How long, he said, turning back to Natalie, am I here for? An autograph was included in the price of admission. This is your first block for tickets numbered A01 to AAA 54. Shouldn't take you more than 8 hours. 8 fucking hours? At least they're paying me a fortune for this. Shatner did his best to maintain his cheerful smile as he moved behind the table. He picked up the marker and popped the cap off as the two guards moved aside. The first fan stepped forward and Shatner almost gasped aloud in horror. The man looked identical to Shatner, from his face to his hair to his body build and height. It is an honor to finally meet you. The man even had the same voice. It took all of his skills as a public entertainer for Shatner not to give away his shock. Fan placed a copy of Tech War on the table and held out his hand. I'm Bob Chaplin. Shatner turned back on and shook his hand. Wow, it's just like looking in a mirror. He gestured at their clothes. We're even wearing the same suits. They were each dressed in navy blue suits, white undershirt, pale blue ties with slanted white stripes. The fan blushed. It was really easy to figure out which outfit you were going to go for. You wear roughly the same 13 configurations for public appearances. There was then the consideration of the major con versus the minor con, and this obviously being a major con. That eliminated 6 possibilities. From there, it was a simple matter of reviewing your last 28 appearances and comparing that to your public dress history. Behind him, Shatner heard a static, distorted voice. Ms. Albright, we have a 2517. Shatner looked behind him and saw Natalie stepping away from the table and raising a walkie-talkie to her mouth. Can you sign it to my #1 fan, Bob? Shatner turned his attention back to the fan. He opened the book and started to write on the title page. He could hear Natalie's hushed voice quickly talking. She sounded pissed. That's a little creepy, like Misery, Shatner said, chuckling, and handed the book back to Bob. What? You know, Kathy Bates, Stephen King movie. Bob stared blankly. I don't think I do. Natalie was suddenly standing next to Shatner and placed a hand on his shoulder. Bill, we've got a problem in the theaters I need to go take care of. I'll be back in just a few minutes. Oh my God, she's going to leave me alone with these people. Now don't worry about anything. We have plenty of security. She motioned at the guards who had moved to either side of the table. They stood tall and stoic, facing forward. Looked like police officers, but their black uniforms wore no insignia. Their heads were covered with black helmets with black face shields pulled down. Shatner did not feel any more at ease. Someone will be along shortly with water and can take an order for anything else you may want. Before he had a chance to respond, Natalie was through the door they'd come through. Bob beamed an adoring smile. The cosmetic surgery cost a fortune. The voice box reshaping alone was $60,000. Shatner beamed a smile right back. Money well spent.